Hello, Battle Brothers. Welcome to the channel. So I've managed to get my assault and my bulwark up to the max level, which is 25. And in this video, I'm going to be covering my personal build for the assault class. So as always, I'm going to start with the weapons. So the assault doesn't have a primary weapon, so that should save some time. I'm gonna go directly into the secondary weapon. I actually prefer the bolt pistol to the heavy pistol, but uh, this is the only class where I can use. I think tactical can also use the heavy bolt pistol. I just use this so that I could level it up. So I might change to the regular bolt pistol, but I'm just gonna cover this one. So because this is the one that I used when I was leveling up the assault class. So assault class is more melee oriented. That's why I didn't go with with this one, which has the most ammo reserves. I rarely use the heavy bolt pistol anyway, so I just went with something that provides more firepower. As for the perks, it's similar to the bolt pistol, because the top row just provides like a lot of the perks just controls the spread of the weapon, which is something that I don't think is important for your secondary weapons. That's why I chose the entire bottom row, because if I the only other choices I have would be this one, which is another perk that controls the spread. This one that provides that deals more headshot damage. But again, I don't really use this to get headshots on the enemy. It's just mainly for small ads that I don't want to engage in close quarters. And this one again, just some spread mitigation. So the bottom row, first perk increases your damage against terminus level enemies by 10%, which is always welcome. Second perk is Death Strike. After killing a Majoris level or higher enemy with a melee weapon, you deal 25% more damage for 5 seconds. Uh, from what I understand, and I'm not 100% sure, but in the threads that I've uh, read, they said that finishers count as melee damage. So this one is gonna be pretty useful because you're gonna be dealing finishers like left and right, and even normal ads you can do finishers on them. So you can always have a constant source of a 25% damage boost. Third one is close combat. Enemies at a distance of no more than 15 meters take 10% more damage, which is very useful again for weight. I think this only applies to this weapon, so I think it's not something that you're gonna be using or you're gonna be taking advantage of a lot, because if you're in close range, you're gonna use your melee weapon with the assault class, but it's extra damage, so I have no complaints there. Well, I do. I wish it was something else, but I mean, it's not entirely useless. Fourth one is adamantine grip. Recoil is reduced by 25%. Not very useful in my opinion, but we need it to get to the next perk, which is iron grip. After a gun strike, recoil is reduced by 35% for 5 seconds. Again, something your recoil control for secondary weapons is something that I don't really find very useful. But again, we needed to get to the next perk, which increases your magazine size. This is also the reason why I didn't get the why I didn't choose the version of the gun with the most ammo. And you get two of those, so you'll get a 30% increase, 24. So it's gonna be 104 shots if my math is correct. And then this one is rapid health. When your health is below 30%, killing 10 enemies in rapid succession restores health by 5%. Cooldown is 30 seconds. I'm not sure if this also affects your melee weapon. I think it's probably just the heavy bolt pistol, but it's an additional source of healing. But I think it's gonna be hard to activate with the bolt pistol, killing 10 enemies in succession, because you're gonna be using your melee uh, to clear ads. So it's not that useful, but if you're like struggling for health, at least you'll have this option. Next one is Divine Might. Damage increases by 10%. I like these types of perks where you just get uh, a direct increase without any conditions. And the last one, damage against chaos enemies increases by 10%. Yeah, it's only for, I don't know if chaos enemies are exactly 50% of the game, in 50% of the game, but yeah, it only covers one like um class of enemies. But again, it's an increase in damage, and I don't have any other alternatives. Or the other alternatives are I find aren't very useful. So I'd rather pick this one. Okay, next is the melee weapon. I actually like the what's this called? The Power Fist. And it's the one that I used at the beginning, but at some point I switched to the Thunder Hammer. I actually don't know why, because I tried the Power Fist and kind of like it. Oh, no, no. I switched to the Thunder Hammer because it has fencing. Yeah, it has a fencing version on the Master Crafted tier, but the Power Fist doesn't. It it will have a fencing option here in Artificer and Relic. So once I level this up to Artificer, I might change back to the Power Fist. I'm leveling it up on my Bulwark class, but I'll get to that later. Okay, so for this version, or for the melee weapon, as always, I'm using the fencing uh, class defense. And as for the perks, I actually had a hard time uh, choosing what perks to get, but in the end, I went with this one. But I'll double check if this is or if these are the perks that uh, I'm going to be permanently using for the assault class. So let's start with the first choices. Okay, if you've watched my other videos, and as I mentioned earlier, I like perks that don't have any conditions to activate, so I went with the bottom row. And you're gonna be in the thick of it. Wait, isn't that the new song by KSI? Excuse me. No, anyway, yeah, you're gonna be like in the front lines most of the time, and you're gonna get damaged. So you won't be taking much advantage of this perk. So it's better. If, in my opinion, it's just better to get this flat 5% increase, which leads to the next perk. Aftershock preparation time is reduced by 30%, which is good. So you don't need to charge the hammer for, or you can charge the hammer for a shorter amount of time and deal more damage. And it also connects to your other perks later, which adds like another ground slam to your combo. It's actually quite good also, but I can't get it since I started with the bottom row. And next one, melee damage is increases by 5%. Again, damage increase always welcome. Shattering impact. Ground slam area of effect radius increases by 50%. Okay, this is I like this one because it, sorry, excuse me. Yeah, it helps you clear ads faster. And seismic chain. This is the, wait, aftershock. I think aftershock is aftershock the one that isn't part of a combo. Where you start out holding the melee button. I know ground slam, sorry, sorry. I know ground slam is the one where you need to do a light attack first and then hold the melee button, hold to charge the hammer. So you'll get like two slams. You can connect two slams instead of just one. So yeah, sorry, these aren't connected, but it's still pretty useful because still use aftershock sometimes. Okay, so the next one is perpetual strength. Again, it's a damage increase, so we have a total of 15% now, and this one deals 10% damage against tyrannid enemies. Um, so yeah, it's just half of the, like, the class or one of the enemy classes, but it's still a 10% increase. And I think I also got the chaos mod, so I got 10% covered for both classes. So total of 25% increase so far. I'll go through these ones and reason out why I didn't get them. So this one, after killing 10 enemies in rapid succession with a light combo, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits. Okay, so two problems with this one. I don't like perks that just make you not lose control upon taking heavy hits. I don't find them very useful because yeah, the goal is to not get hit anyway. But and if I do get hit, at least when I get knocked back, I'll have some iframes. I'm not 100% sure about that. It's just what I think. But yeah, again, getting knocked back isn't really that much of an issue even when it happens, and you need to kill 10 enemies with a light combo. And I rarely do that. I tend to mix in ground slams on the second or third hit. So yeah, it's not something that I find very useful also. In this one, Aftershock improved. Aftershock gains additional spin. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember now. Aftershock is if you charge the hammer at the beginning and not in the middle of the combo, you'll get another slam. I kind of like this one also, but I already have this one. So if I need to do two ground slams, I just use the seismic chain instead of starting with the aftershock. And this one, melee damage against minors level enemies increases by 20%. I think it's pretty useless because you don't really need to increase your damage against the normal ads. And I might end up, I don't, like, I might end up, okay, wait, before I continue. So what I like to do is uh, to gun strike normal ads to kill them so that I can constantly recover my armor, even if there's just like a little bit of damage to it. So I don't really need to increase my damage on the normal ads because when you can knock them back with one hit and kill them with a gun strike in the other. So they're gonna get defeated immediately after you gun strike them anyway. So yeah, this is pretty much useless also. And the last perk, Pommel Smash, deals 50% more damage. What's a Pommel Smash? I think it's the melee attack while dashing. It's something I like to do, but yeah, I use Pommel Smash frequently, but I chain it with a gun strike. So I don't need to deal more damage because the gun strike will kill the enemy. So yeah, that's why I didn't get these four, and I just went the upper route or the upper row. Uh, this one gives you an additional 10% increase in damage if you have full armor, which I don't think I'll be able to make much use of, but at least it's there. It's another 10% damage increase. I already covered this one, 10% increase to chaos enemies. This one, hard target. While performing a light combo, you take 15% less range damage. This one I like because, like I said, I start out with light combos, with 2 to 3 hits, and then do a what's it called, ground slam. So at least during those two to three hits, excuse me. Yeah, at least before I do the ground slam, I'll take 15% less range damage. And then the last one is patience rewarded. A fully prepared aftershock hit restores one armor segment. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, my main source or what I do the most to restore armor is to knock back normal ads and then gun strike them. But at least I think this is a little bit useful because if you're charging in the aftershock, you're gonna get hit. So at least this like makes up for it. This like it doesn't remove the risk, but it mitigates the risk of charging the aftershock when I in the few times that I do use it. Okay, so that is it for weapons. Okay, now let's go into the perks. I remember having a hard time choosing the perks for the assault class. I'll probably remember why as I go through everything. So let's start with the core perks. Okay, the first column, Winged Fury, damage from melee attacks executed while sprinting or dashing increases by 25%. I kind of like this one because do the pommel smash or the dash attacks often to knock down ads and then gun strike them to recover armor. But yeah, let's go to the second one. Overcharge. Damage of charged attacks increases by 15%. It's okay also because I tend to mix in ground slam in the middle of combos. But hmm, I like this perk also because when you're fighting Majora's level enemies, at least when you parry their attacks and gun strike them, you'll get some armor, which will help. Even if, yeah, I rarely finish Majora's level enemies with a gun strike. I usually finish them with finishers. So at least, but I do gun strike them quite often when I parry their attacks. So yeah, I'll keep this one. I think I do like several like enough gun strikes in an operation to take advantage of this perk. And since you're gonna always be, or most of the time, gonna be in close range, you're gonna get hit by ranged attacks and the random melee attack that you didn't see coming from outside of your camera view. But if you're like really confident and you don't need additional survivability, you can just get any of these ones or one of these two, depending on your playstyle. They're quite useful also. But I'll stick with armor reinforcement. Okay, for the next column, I'll start with the ones I didn't pick. Consecutive execution. Killing 15 enemies in rapid succession restores equipment charge by 1. Cooldown is 3 minutes. I'm not overly reliant on my grenades. Because you have your like jump pack and then I don't know what you call the charge attack from the air, but you can just use that aerial slam to clear ads. Yeah, basically it's like a frag grenade. And even in ruthless difficulty, you can like get grenades from a lot of sources, like in crates or just grenades placed randomly somewhere on the stage. Okay, so this one, Retribution. After you are grabbed or knocked back, you deal 15% more melee damage for 10 seconds. Hmm, what's this one? Secondary weapons damage increases by 15%. Yeah, now I remember why I had a hard time picking the perks for Assault. Um, because for the other classes, there's always a clear winner, or at least most of the time there's a clear winner uh, among the three choices that you have for each column. But here again, I'm torn between these two because I don't really use my secondary weapon that much. But this one just takes effect if you are grabbed or knocked back, which I wouldn't say it doesn't happen often. It does happen like well, it doesn't really happen a lot also. I can usually manage to parry attacks, and I rarely uh Like I try to find an isolated Majoris. Wait, excuse me for a bit. I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. So in the event that you do get knocked back, at least you can have your revenge by dealing 15% more damage for 10 seconds. Can be useful if you're unable to disengage from a swarm of enemies. But uh yeah, no, I can usually just get away from that swarm by using a jetpack, a grenade if I have one, or just like panic dodging. So, yeah, I'm gonna stick with this one. Auxiliary arsenal, secondary weapons damage increases by 15%. Uh, I don't really like it. I'm still considering this one, but yeah, I'm going to just keep the auxiliary arsenal. Just for those for terminus level enemies, and yeah, so I can kill things faster if I decide to engage them in long range. Okay, so for the third core perk, first one is Perseverance. While performing charged attacks, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits. And you cannot be knocked back. Again, I don't like perks that just make you unmovable. Is it unmovable? Unmovable or immovable? I forgot what the correct prefix is. But yeah, anyway, I don't like perks that just that just prevent you from getting knocked back. And next one, melee damage increases by 15% against Majoris or extremist level enemies. This one is actually I like this one because you're usually fighting like you're usually focusing on Majoris or extremist level enemies. So 15% damage increase against them is very helpful. But the third one, enemies hit by melee attacks that take 10% more damage for 3 seconds. Oh yeah, yeah. No, this one is a lot more useful than this one because this one, although this one only has a duration, but you're gonna be using melee attacks most of the time anyway. And this one covers all enemies, even extremist level ones. So it's a more well-rounded. It's yeah, it covers more situations than this one, even if the duration is only for 3 seconds. But you're gonna be, excuse me, you're gonna keep using melee attacks anyway, and it doesn't have a cooldown, so you can just keep hitting for and get a constant 10% damage increase. So next are the team perks. Okay, the third perk is proven efficiency. All squad members deal 50% more gunstrike damage. Uh, this is only. I mean, I can see how this can be useful, but I didn't get it. Uh, uh, this one is probably something that I like more than this one. That's why I didn't get it. And also, when fighting like tankier enemies, gun strikes aren't really your main source of damage. I use personally. I use gun strikes just to get back armor and to kill normal ads immediately. And also, after I parry Majora's level enemies or extremist ones, or and terminus ones also. But my main source of damage is still gonna be the melee attacks and the secondary weapon. This one, strategic strikes. All squad members deal 20% more melee damage against terminus level enemies. Uh, yeah, I don't. This one I don't think it's very useful. It only covers bosses with HP. Yeah, bosses. I'm really sorry. My throat is kind of itching. And also, when fighting most terminus level enemies, gonna be using your guns, even if you're assault bulwark or the vanguard class, because it's dangerous to keep engaging them in close range. So I don't think. Yeah, I can see its use like this one, but for my playstyle, I don't think it's the best option. So I'm sticking with this one. All squad members' abilities recharge 10% faster. At least your squad and your own ability will you can make use of them more often, especially with the Bulwark's banner and the sniper's camo also. Those can come in clutch, especially during terminus level enemies. Okay, now onto the gear perks. First column, Smiting Angel, ground pounds damage increases by 10%. Uh, I don't think, I actually think this is good, but I didn't choose it. I chose the third one. I'll get into it later. Second one is Hammer of Wrath. After a ground pound, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot. Again, it's a knockback mitigation perk. I don't like those, so skip that. Third one, precision strike. Ground pound deals 100% more damage, but its range is increased by 50%. Ah, yeah, that's why I chose this. It's a very significant increase in damage, and I'm willing to trade the rages by 50%. I think there was a perk that increases the rages anyway. I think was it in the weapon? Wait, let me just double check. Okay, yeah, so this cancels the drawback of the other perk because this increases your rages by 50%. And this one reduces yeah, so it just cancels. So you can still get the normal rages for the ground pound. So basically you get 100% more damage for free. Okay, second column, Wings of Flame. Jump back dash damages enemies along its trajectory. I never use the jump back to dash. The only times I use the charge to dash is if I accidentally press it. So this is pretty much useless, at least for my playstyle. There's a playstyle that makes use of the jump back dash, like this one, perfectly timed dodge using a jump back dash. Restores the ability charge, so you can Yeah, so you that you can have a free charge. Wait, excuse me. Okay. Anyway, third perk is Zealous Blow. A ground pound kill restores jump packs charge by 10%. I don't have any problems with the normal cooldown of the jump pack, and usually, I really don't use it often. Like, wait, no, scratch that. I do use jump pack a lot, but I never thought that it the cooldown period is long. Usually, when I need it, I have a charge available. And even if I don't have a charge available, the hammer does a good job of clearing out ads with the charge with the ground slam. So the cooldown isn't really an issue. Uh, wait, so okay, maybe this is why I felt like the cooldown wasn't an issue because I have this perk. And I'd rather have the passive 20% faster charge than having to kill enemies with a ground pound. Although if there's a swarm of enemies or waves of enemies, it's gonna be very easy to get ground pound kills. But I just prefer not having to like worry about this one anymore and just get the 20% faster charge. Uh, this is more than enough to cover or yeah, this is more than enough for me to feel like I can use the jump pack as often as I need to, if that makes sense. I'm sorry. Yeah, anyway, on to the third column. First one is Pride and Duty. After a finisher, ground pound deals 25% more damage for 10 seconds. Hmm, increase in damage for something that's fairly easy act to activate. But when I do a finisher, I don't really go directly into a ground pound either. But hmm, I think this one is um well, obviously I'm having second thoughts because I can think of some uses for this one, and or I think that this one is a viable choice also. But I'll get back to it later. Third one, after a perfectly timed dodge using a jump pack dash, you deal 25% more damage for 5 seconds. Again, I don't use the jump pack for dodging. I just use the normal dodge when I need to dodge. And yeah, I use the jump pack exclusively for the aerial slam, so this one's pretty much useless for me. Although can uh it's another source for a significant like 25% is not a little it's not a little increase. So I can see it being useful also. It's just not something that uh, yeah, it's just not a jump. Jump pack dodges just aren't a part of my playstyle. So I don't have to be like worrying about executing a jump pack dodge to get the 25% damage increase. I just rather think of when I have a charge and I'm engaging a strong enemy or like a very large number of enemies, I'll use a jump pack and that's it. Okay, so this one, the second one is diligence. After a fully prepared ground pound deals 20% more damage, but preparation time increases by 25%. Mhm. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna keep this one. I don't really feel the 25% increase in preparation time. I think the ground pound, even with the 25% increase, I think the ground pound still charges up very quickly, or at least quick enough so that I can still hit enemies. And so I'd rather have this 20% increase without without an activation condition, just a drawback. Because this one you need to do a finisher first. So yeah, keeping this one diligence. But if you want to choose the other, the other two, that's fine. If you do the jump back dashes frequently, you can get this. Or if you feel like this is more useful, you can just get this one. But I prefer the diligence one. Okay, finally we get to the signature perks. First one is ample ammunition. Any use of jump pack reloads the equipped ranged weapon. Okay, it's pretty much useless. You only have your secondary weapon, and it doesn't take a long time to reload your secondary weapon. And reloading really isn't an issue anyway with any of the guns in the game. So yeah, don't pick this one. Or do. I mean, it's up to you. If you think it's useful, go ahead. But I don't think it's good. The third one is commitment. Perfectly timed dodge. Okay, I showed this earlier already. Just restores your jump pack dash if you use it to dodge perfectly. Again, which isn't part of my playstyle. So this is a pretty option for me. Second one is the only option that I can choose. Jump back leap deals damage to all enemies in the takeoff area. I actually don't like this very much also because a lot of times when I jump, I'm not in the middle of enemies, but at least I'll have this option when I'm in the middle of a swarm. So they'll get damage on takeoff and on landing. Okay, well, that is it for the assault class. I'm going to be covering the bulwark next, so look out for that. And again, sorry for the frequent stops earlier, but I hope you got something out of the video. And as always, see you next time, and I hope you have a nice day.